The Pete and Pettit Show. May your ears embrace their wise words.
What was that? What was that introduction music all about?
Don't be so rude. That's my choice of music. That's my request.
Just to make everyone aware, Pete told me that the choice of music to start the show would be interesting, and we guarantee a laugh, and you definitely got that.
Mark's eyes when that came on, he was just thinking in his head, I could tell he was just like, what was this all about?
Explain yourself.
Right, okay, well, the reason I chose this song was because last night I had a dream about India. Now, the reason I had a dream about India, this is what I'm thinking, is obviously because I went out for a meal last night to an Indian restaurant with a couple of people.
Yeah.
So it was a really bizarre dream, loads going on in it. I think there was a Tyrannosaurus Rex at one point, and there was a school locker. That's all I remember. It was bizarre. That's my head for you. It's full of complete and utter nonsense.
For the recent insight into your dreams, Pete. That was really fascinating.
You're very welcome. So, good evening, everybody. We are back once again with podcast number 2.
The ratings for the first one were so big that a second one had to follow.
Yeah, our fans have been demanding more. A lot more.
See the fan mail I've been getting through, Pete. See some of the pictures as well.
Woo! Oh, I've not seen any of these. You need to show me.
Weirdly enough, they're pictures of you, but that's a So why don't we literally just jump in right away and start off with your Nokia?
Yes, well,
story.
Nokia, our old friend Nokia. Remember they used to have the phones out and you could play Snake on it?
The 3310, the 5260 are the two ones that I owned. The 5260 was the big one with aerial. And then the one after that came out was the 3310. I think that was one of the most popular phones ever made.
Right, okay, well, enough from the smart arse over at the other side of the room. Nokia is talking about launching a range of tablets as it looks to accelerate its financial recovery and regain its standing against rivals such as Apple and Samsung.
Okay.
Now, obviously, Nokia has had a few knocks in the past because of their products. They've bought them out and they've not been as popular as other mobile products out there, digital products.
They've just released the Lumia range, haven't they? It's doing okay. It's not doing as good as I think they were expecting, but I think they're taking their time with this one.
They were the first big mobile company that came out, done really, really well, and they've got all this competition nowadays.
Well, you were telling me earlier on that they were the biggest mobile phone brand in the world up until a couple of weeks ago when Samsung took that position from them.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But
they must have been doing something right.
They do bring out a lot of products, but they just don't do as well because
marketing.
So they are looking to bring out lots of different ranges of tablets.
Okay.
I've got a little fact here. Global tablet shipments are forecast to grow 47.5% year on year to 21.8 million units this quarter, with Apple's iPad continuing to dominate the market.
Now, my question is Nokia are quite late, first of all, entering the smartphone market.
Yes, very late.
And I think they're very late entering the tablet market. You know, what's going to differentiate a Nokia tablet to an Android tablet or an iPad? They're going to have something that's really unique there for me to go, I'm going to spend a few £100s on the Nokia brand rather than Samsung's version or an Apple version.
The iPad is the one and only.
Yeah, that's if you're an Apple fan.
I am an Apple fan, Mark.
Yeah, you are. If you're like me, someone who isn't... I admire what Apple do. I respect what they do. Personally, I don't buy into Apple. I don't have any of their products. I used to have an iPod, but since then...
You're so late.
No, I just like to have variety. I don't like having the one product in every single... Just because I have an iPhone doesn't mean that I want to have, you know, an iPad or a MacBook. I like to see what else is
Mark's
out
form
there.
of communication is a cup
Pigeon.
and a string.
No, it's pigeon, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, you've
a lot more reliable.
Oh, well, you've upgraded. Anyway, what have you got to
Very
talk
interesting.
about?
Moving on to something that I really am interested in, and a potential phone I may buy myself. Have you seen the new Samsung S3 smartphone?
No, but you were telling me about this today, and you were just jumping up and down like a little child at the fact that it's coming out.
Their proposition or tagline goes by "Designed for Humans." This phone is basically...
I hope so.
Yeah, well, this phone is going to be the flagship of all phones, particularly in the Samsung range. This is the newer version of their best-selling phone, and as you said earlier about Nokia, Samsung are now the biggest phone manufacturer. They sell more units than any other brand out there. So this phone's got a lot of high expectations. And what's really interesting about this is the fact that Samsung will be having what's called pins popping up across Britain. Pins will basically pop up stores where you can go to them for advice on how to work your Samsung enabled phone.
Pop-up stores?
Pop-up stores.
So just
I don't know
in
what
the
they
middle
look
of the
like.
street? They just
Could
pop out,
be,
come out of
could
nowhere?
be, could be, yeah.
Interesting.
But what I really like about this phone, Pete, We're talking about earlier on, I know at lunch we were saying about how technology has changed so many things. This phone is really smart. For example, I could be texting you and then I realised, you know what, it's maybe easier if I phone you. So instead of pressing a few buttons, select your name and call you, what I can actually do is I can be in the middle of texting you, and then all I need to do is put my phone up to my ear and it will automatically phone you. Isn't that just truly amazing?
That is amazing, but I'd probably be expecting a text, and if I did get a phone call, I'd be deeply disappointed. I wouldn't want to talk to you.
Well, apart from you, I think that's a really good feature.
So what else does it do?
They also, like most phones nowadays, they have a camera at the front.
What kind of camera? Is it a good camera?
I don't think it's as many. I mean, I think the back is 8 megapixels and this one's maybe 2 megapixels or just under that.
Okay.
But the interesting fact is this phone can tell when you're not watching it. And the purpose of this is to turn itself off and put it on standby mode so it saves battery.
Oh, lovely.
So the way that they show this, Pete, is a scene of a father and son in the son's bedroom. The son's being read a story, because you can obviously read storybooks on the Samsung phone, and they both fall asleep and the phone recognises this, and I think it's after maybe 10-20 seconds. You can change how long it takes for this feature to kick in. They both fall asleep and the phone goes on to standby mode.
Oh, and that's good. So
it's a really quirky feature.
So it doesn't settle out and burn the place down. That's very good.
No, and one of the things is about smartphones is they die very quickly, particularly if you use all the bells and whistles on it. So I think that's a really cool feature.
Well, now it's that time where we look through our Twitter, our timeline, and we stalk some people and we find a really, really interesting story. So I think Mark has one lined up for us.
I do.
Good.
Yes, I actually found quite an interesting article by @social_penguin. That's @social_penguin.
A lovely man.
Yeah, this particular account, he was talking about the power of Instagram and how intuitive apps like this are really just taking off. And he actually gives a live example, which I quite like. He was in Italy, and I think you can see when you look at the picture, he's at the coast in Italy. Lovely buildings, lovely old style buildings on the right hand side, and he takes a picture of it. Now obviously taking a standard picture of that just with a camera would look good, but he's added this old effect onto it which makes it really stand out. And he just goes on to say how, you know, it doesn't have to go back to his apartment, link this photo up to his laptop and then muck about with it. He can basically do
it there and then.
He can do this style there and then with a few clicks on his phone and it's there. Now I know you're a fan of Instagram, you use it all the time.
I'm an Instagrammer. I've got it constantly on. But I enjoy going out taking photographs of random things and just making them look really interesting. There's lots and lots of different filters. You
Instagrammed our profile picture, didn't you?
Yeah, before that photograph was really boring, Mark looked really dull in it. I Instagrammed it and kind of spiced it up a little bit. But what Instagram is, you take a normal photograph, lots of different filters you can choose from, you can make it look interesting, old, lots of different variations, and it's really a great app.
I mean, what he's saying here is, you know, Instagram is heading towards the 100 million user mark, and that's just within 2 years. You know, it's only been about for 2 years. That's a lot of people. You can see why Facebook seen this as a tractable proposition for their business. So thank you very much @social_penguin for that interesting tweet. We thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay, Mark, so it's this point of the show where we get our guest speaker on. This is our first guest speaker.
It is our first guest speaker.
This is very exciting.
Now, he goes by the name of Amar Mawarha, and basically you can find him on Twitter. He's got a joint Twitter account similar to us.
Good.
It's @AmarArvid, so it's @AmarArvid. And Amar's actually on the line for us right now, and what Amar's going to do is tell us the importance of creativity for both businesses and just marketing campaigns. Amar, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there, Mark. Would you like me to start off with telling the lovely listeners a little bit about myself and what I do?
Go for it, Amar.
Please do, Amar.
So, I know Mark. I've met Mark in person a couple of times. I studied with him at the Central College of Commerce in Glasgow. I studied advertising and public relations.
2 great years.
So, yeah, for 2 years. After Glasgow, I moved down to Falmouth to do a course in creative advertising. Mm-hmm. And after cleaning up at some of the award shows, I managed to land on myself a scholarship at the School of Communication Arts, where I met my partner. So in this partnership, it's me and this guy called Arvid, who's an art director. What an art director basically does is direct art. So he's in charge of the visuals. I'm the copywriter. So I work with all the words. I'm basically a wordsmith.
A wordsmith? Is a wordsmith the same as a blacksmith, but you...
Locksmith.
Yeah. It's basically the same. Yeah, I craft words, he crafts the art. And what we both do together is we both collaborate and come up with the concept for the campaign.
Fantastic, Amar.
Interesting.
So, Amar, if we were talking about creativity earlier on, personally, between us, and how important it is, and it's not a thing that you can just have. You can't just think of an idea. Well, you can just think of an idea, but when it comes to quality, Amar, I mean, how difficult do you think it is to get that really special idea for a campaign?
Yeah, it is quite difficult, but creativity, essentially, is a process. Like myself, if you were to ask me, what's my creative process? I don't know if I'd be able to tell you 100% because it's different each time. Sometimes I might start off with research and then talk with my partner, come up with an idea and then execute it and then do the finished ad. Or it might literally be that I have the idea when I'm on the toilet and then we work backwards. So we talk about it with my partner, then we do the research to back it up.
That's the thing about being creative, though. It can come completely spontaneously. You could be walking along the street and you see this car drive past and it hits a puddle, and then all of a sudden you think, I've got a really good idea.
For trespass, raincoats.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. But to define creativity, creativity is a lot of things. It's storytelling, it's problem solving. But if I was to define it in a sentence, it's basically the expression of an idea that brings value. So what creativity does, it's not just making things look nice. In fact, creativity isn't that at all. It's not like making your garden look nice. It's actually solving problems. So it's bringing value to things and changing things for the good and making them better and improving them. That's creativity.
I think the worst thing you could probably do in creativity is get everybody into a room and you sit there for hours and hours and hours and try and think. I've been in a couple of times to a couple of meetings where people will just sit and it'll be like, right, come up with an idea here and now. And sometimes that does not work, and it's just mind-numbing.
Other times it can work, though.
It can work.
In the sense of that you're around other individuals, and when you're around other individuals, you can all feed off each other's idea. But I understand sometimes to have the quality there, it can be a lot harder. Amar, can you think of any recent campaigns that have stood out in your mind due to their creativity alone?
Well, I'll give you one example which I've seen. I forget which brand it was, but it was for a Japanese supermarket. Creativity is often telling kind of like a same old story in a new way. Bringing light to it is everybody gets vouchers through the post, direct mail, through Tesco, but they're just boring. So what this Japanese company did was they said, how can we make vouchers exciting? So what they did was they built an iPhone app that uses augmented reality. And what they did was they released digital butterflies in the store and outside it. And these digital butterflies collated into vouchers. So you had to go with your iPhone, look for the butterflies through your iPhone, and then catch the vouchers.
Wow.
So that's quite creative and that's quite different.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's taking a boring process and telling it a different way. Another couple campaigns which is quite exciting. Now this one is a little bit old, but it's probably one of my favourite campaigns. The problem was that there was a lot of stigma attached to Batman movies when they first came out.
Yes.
Not staying true to the comics.
Pete's face is lit up here.
Yeah, so basically, how can you get hardcore fans, hardcore comic book fans, who are basically will make or break this movie based on their feedback? What they did was they basically got all the comic book fans at a comic book convention in America to basically be involved in the build-up to the start of the Batman movie. So you know how in the...
Is this a brand new Batman movie, Amar?
No, this is the new one, the Batman Begins and the Dark Knight and all that sort of stuff. So this was the second movie, and what they basically did was they basically involved the comic book readers into the build-up of the second movie. So you know when Joker robs the bank?
Yes.
He basically set up that, and basically what the comic book people got to do was they got to experience that and do missions. So you should be able to check it out online. I'll send you the stuff. So
just send it to our Twitter, which is at Pete and Pettit.
Yeah, I'll send you to Twitter. But basically what they did was they managed to set up some missions. For example, you had to collect the getaway vehicle. That was quite an interesting way of solving quite a difficult problem.
That is quite interesting. And what I saw online today with the new Batman movie is something a wee bit different. They're forcing people online to look through fake documents, fake police files, all to do with Batman, the capture of Bane, just to make it a wee bit more interactive and to get everybody that's excited about this movie involved.
Yeah.
Cannot wait for this movie to come out.
Listen, thank you very much for coming on and expressing your views. Really interesting having you, and hopefully we'll get you back on the show again soon.
Follow us Amar Arvid on Twitter, and tweet us if you have any questions. I do tend to waffle, so just in case you didn't understand anything, just tweet me.
Thanks, Amar. Amar, everybody. Well, thank you very much for that, Amar. Indeed, that was very, very interesting. Now, we have come to the end of yet another successful podcast, Mark.
We have, but good news, folks, there will be another one.
There will be indeed.
Coming to you soon.
Now, if you want to find out more about us, you can go onto our Twitter, which is @Pete&Pettit. That's all one word, @Pete&Pettit.
Sorry, Pete. What was it again?
@Pete&Pettit.
Fantastic.
I can start a song out of that. So you can follow us on there, and you can get in touch, and you can also get in touch through our YouTube
Yeah,
page.
leave any comments you have. You can leave them under the page, and we will get back to you as soon as possible.
The YouTube page is also
@Pete&Pettit.
Yes.
That's easy.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
And take care, and we'll speak to you soon.
Pete and Pettit Show. Two men with their own thoughts on the wonderful world of marketing. Follow them on Twitter @Pete and Pettit.